What's going on, guys? Asian Guy here, bringing you a video to answer one of global players' most asked questions: should you be pulling on this Sugofest, which is incoming? Now, on the side here, to illustrate my point, I do have a pseudo tier list. It's not really a tier list, it's more so a list of units you really want to have in your box. But this Sugofest, 2.5 times legend rate up. It's a no-brainer. If you're missing like over half of the legends in the game, you should absolutely be pulling on this Sugofest. Free multi is available. It unfortunately doesn't have the 2.5 times legend rate up, but a free multi is a free multi. However, I really wanted to make this video because so many people are asking me this question: should you pull on this Sugofest or save for the anniversary Sugofest that Japan had, the 6th anniversary, or even Legend Kid and Legend Basil Hawkins? They've only been teased. We don't even know what they do yet other than super typing, but super typing is so OP, it's dividing a lot of global players' attention. And what I will say, guys, if you are going to save up for that Sugofest, you're going to be waiting at least 6 months. It's going to come at the end of the year or at the beginning of the next year in 2021, because this Sugofest, as always, Japan is around 4 to 6 months ahead of global, and it's literally 1 week short or 1 week shy of being 6 months that this Sugofest drops on global. So it is basically 6 months behind. The main prize here, though, guys, I want to emphasize this so much, is not Osoba Mask or Luffy Zoro. It's actually this Usopp. This Usopp will see more gameplay and more game time and relevance than both Luffy Zoro and Osoba Mask on so many different teams, because his utility is absolutely busted. It's insane. He releases 5 turns of enemy defense up, percent damage reduction, and threshold damage reduction, the holy trinity of annoying enemy defensive effects. And 95% of the time when the enemy has any of the holy trinity of defensive effects, it's 5 or 4 turns or maybe even 3 turns, but it doesn't matter. Usopp covers all those bases. If you get special silence, he has special silence reduction in his sailor ability. He also has special cooldown in his sailor, not in his sailor ability, in his special ability, which rolls forward your team's specials, which is really nice. And he also undoes 2 turns of special rewind to counter it on himself as well. God tier unit. And to top it off, if you can delay the enemy, he will delay the enemy. Although delay is kind of irrelevant nowadays outside of the latest katakuri. But going back to this list here, this is how you gotta understand whether or not you should be pulling. It really depends on, one, whether or not you're addicted to gambling. Hopefully that's not the case, and if you are past the addiction of gambling and you want to be sensible with your pulls, it depends on which of these units you're missing. If you are missing every single unit from the first and second row, you should be pulling 100% without a doubt. If you are missing all of these units in the first 2 rows, you should be pulling. In fact, you should honestly be pulling on like every single discounted multi for the hopes of landing one of these even earlier legends in Corazon and Rayleigh. Now, you might be thinking, how on earth has he put Corazon and Rayleigh above Luffy and Zoro? It's not a tier list, guys. It's a list. Essentially, it's a tier list of how much you're going to be using these units for the next 6 months on global. Let me put it this way. This Corazon and Rayleigh, not only are they fantastic utility subs, their support abilities are like irreplaceable. You put them on literally every single team that has a Luffy lore. If it has a lore unit, you put the Corazon on the lore. If it has a Luffy unit, chances are you're going to be putting Rayleigh support on there. And there's so much content in the game that is reliant on you having these supports now, which does suck for the people who don't have them. I know so many people, for some reason, yet still haven't pulled V1 Rayleigh, and actually making it harder to pull V1 Rayleigh these days on Japan, which is a little bit of a shame because he aged so well. And I honestly think these 2 legends really go under the radar in how useful they are. And then these 3 captains / subs, Luffy Lore and Bullet. If you have Luffy Lore and Bullet as your captains, and you have both of them, or even if you have one of them, you honestly don't need any other better captains. You don't really need Luffy Zoro at that point. Will you even play with Luffy Zoro? You play with them for like 1, maybe 2 months, and then you'll go straight back to Luffy Lore and Stampede Bullet. That's how good those 2 legends are. They are still like the best legend captains in the top 5, maybe the top 7 on Japan. Still to this day, they are that's so good. So good. Osoba Mask is, in my opinion, overall for global, the best legend in the game. And when I say overall, I mean how frequently you're going to be using him as a sub or as a captain, and even as a support. Really good in all of those departments, and especially for Kizuna Kesen. What an absolute monster. He is an absolute freaking monster. Vivi and Rebecca, even in Kizuna Kesen, if you are missing any of those captains I mentioned before, they actually work as like a pseudo replacement, because with the color affinity they go up to like a 4.2 times boost, which is no slouch, and they are essentially, you know, they can use a lot of subs. Very, very good captain in niche areas, but the main thing about them is how good they are as a sub. One of, if not the best sub in the game. If you're missing Vivi Rebecca, you're missing Bullet, and you're missing Luffy Law, you may want to consider pulling on this banner right here, because it's a 2.5 times legend rate up. It's no slouch. It's no joke of a banner, although there are some things about this banner which I do think are questionable. But yes, for every Sugofest, whether it's 2 times legend rate up, 2.5, or 3 times legend rate up, as long as there's at least a 2 times legend rate up, guys, and you're missing like the top half of this list, you should be going in. If you're missing a bunch of units from the top half of this list, you really should be going in. Vivi and Rebecca is in that tier of their own. This special tier where V2 Katakuri used to be of, do you have Vivi and Rebecca? If the answer is no, well, you can't do this piece of content. If you have them, then yes, it unlocks so many teams for you. That's how good they are. Sabo and Koala are kind of in that same bracket for GARP challenges, certain GARP challenges. If you have them, make your life so much easier. V1 Snake Man, do I really need to say anything? He's just lasted a very long time. He's very, very good. Rainbow Captain. Really no drawbacks other than he's Luffy. Stampede Luffy. Now, as you guys can imagine, he's a niche captain, and you might be shocked why I put him so high, but recently on Japan, the last 3, maybe even 4 months, a lot of int content, and that shouldn't surprise you because the legends that we got for anniversary were strength and int, so we got a crap ton of strength units, free to play content, and int units, free to play content as well. And this Stampede Luffy really did a lot of work. Kaido for GARP challenges, free gems if you beat those GARP challenges. If you have Kaido, your life is a lot easier. And then the 3, Holy Trinity. This is the Holy Trinity of rare recruits. In my opinion, this is a Holy Trinity. You can throw time skip Nami in there for an Elite 4, but for me, this is the Holy Trinity. Usopp, Ain, and Bobbin. These 3 are absolute utility gods. So good. They're so useful on GARP challenges, so useful on Colosseum, so useful on raids. Basically, every piece of content, you want to have one of these 3. In fact, you want to have all 3 of these 3 rare recruits because they're that useful. And then we go down to more captains and subs that will basically increase your damage output or make your life a little bit easier. Luffy Zoro for the next 1 or 2 months are going to be really, really good. But if you have a Luffy Zoro friend and you just leech off them, that's a lot of your problems solved, because Luffy Zoro as a captain boost, really good, but as their special ability, it's not really a stackable one, right? So chain lock with an orb boost, you don't really need to have double Luffy Zoro. It's kind of better to pair Luffy Zoro up with someone else, like maybe even Sabo and Koala for a free spirit team. That really does combine into a very tasty team. So, first 2 rows. Let's say you have 4 of those units, 4 out of 5, because you obviously don't have Osoba mask yet. If you have 4 out of 5 in the first row, maybe you should hesitate about going ham on this Sugofest. If you have in these first 2 rows, let's say you have like 8 of these units in the first 2 rows, I would say as long as you get Usopp, you really should not be pulling past that, because you don't need anything else. You will be able to clear basically everything without much problems. That's how useful these units in the first 2 rows are. Now, Carrot is a very special one. It really depends on your playstyle. If you want to beat stuff really quickly, when Carrot works, Carrot is always the fastest. There's like no competition. She's always faster by like 30 seconds, maybe even 1 minute. So if you don't have Carrot, maybe you do want to go in. Cracker is basically there for a crap ton of extra damage, really good in Kizuna Kessen. Same with V2 Shanks, really good in Kizuna Kessen. Same with Nami, also very good in Kizuna Kessen, but there are plenty of replacement for those units for Colosseums, for raids, etc, etc. And then you got the quality of life legends, which is very much personal preference, Buggy, Chopper, and Jack. But depending on your personal preference, maybe they're even higher up. If you want to save some gems, or you want to save some stamina, or you want to make more efficient use of your stamina, or you just want to expand your stamina bar, then Jack, easily in the second or first row. If you want cotton candy, everyone on Japan wants cotton candy right now since we got a massive cotton candy buff. I regret selling my cotton candy. Save your cotton candy up. I wish I had Chopper earlier. You know, top tier. Buggy, I don't really need to say, when PvP drops, when any kind of special island drops or special item drops, #1 legend to have would be Buggy. Then you got Zoro, V2 Big Mom, basically more additional damage. Otherwise, outside of Kizuna Kessen, don't really see that much play. Well, Big Mom does see quite a lot of play on certain teams if you don't have any other dedicated chain lockers. Then the Aokiji, also very good for PvP. He's also a very good unit overall. V2 Katakuri, as I briefly mentioned, is kind of like VV Rebecca. If you don't have V2 Katakuri, there's many pieces of content that your life might be harder on, but he has become outdated, realistically speaking. And then the bottom row is basically there as a bunch of other very nice units to have, but not really necessary for any kind of team. You got Halloween Ace there, who's really good as a support as well. 3-turn bind reduction as a support on Luffy and Sabo. Really, really nice. You got Shirahoshi and Manshari, who I do think are a tad little bit overrated. They're not necessarily any teams, but they do make your life a lot easier as well. Sanji Judge becoming more and more outdated. Deadbeard becoming more and more outdated. And then for Perispero, and that's not Brule, I forgot her name, but she's very good on carrot teams. Those two are really, really good on carrot teams, but that's pretty much their only usage that you see, other than, oh, I need to remember her name because she's such a good unit. Charlotte something. The Charlotte purple girl. Really, really good. And then you also have Charlotte Montdor, who is becoming more and more relevant again on Snake Man teams. On the new, and when I say Snake Man, I mean both Snake Man V1 and Snake Man V2. Really, really good. Color Affinity Booster, has a good amount of utility in there. And of course, a God tier sub for Douglas Bullet. But yes, guys, to answer your question, I try to make this as short as possible. Apologies that it's quite long now. If you have the majority of these units on this page above the third row, third, second, and first row, you don't need to pull. Like, realistically speaking, like, who are you kidding? You really don't need to pull. You have, like, all the best legends in the game. There's no reason to pull. You should really be saving up your gems because it has now been announced that on the 30th multi-pull, you are guaranteed to get either Osoba Mask or Luffy Zoro if you go that deep. Which means on the French anniversary, there's a good chance that for 20 multi-pulls, you might be guaranteed Shanks Crew, who is a top tier legend. Amazing captain, amazing sub, one of the best units in the game. For 20 multis, way better than Luffy Zoro and Osoba Mask for 20 multis. You're saving yourself 10 multis. Really, really good. Arlong Crew, though, let's not talk about Arlong Crew. They're a bit of a meme. No one really respects them on Japan. They're not great as a captain. They have a decent amount of usage as a sub, but that's pretty much it. They're obviously not worth 20 multis, or let alone 30 multis. It depends what's going to happen on Global, but French anniversary, guys, is going to be around August or the end of July. So do keep that in mind. And then to top it off, at the end of the year, you're going to have, you know, Legend Kid, Legend Hawkins, a Legend Luffy Snake Man, Legend Blackbeard, Legend Katakuri, and Legend Sabo. And if they do the same Sugo-Fest and on Global as they do Japan, that's 20 multis. You're going to guarantee one of those, right? And they're really good. They're all top tier. You save yourself a bunch of gems. It's probably going to be a minimum 2 times, maybe 2.5, and if you're lucky, 3 times legend rate up on that banner for Global on New Year's. And by that time, if you did spend your gems wisely, you log in every day, do your Chopper Man missions, do your extra events every now and then, maybe just play 1 hour a day, you will easily have enough to be able to pull for one of those guaranteed legends. 20 multis. Easily, guys. Easily. Well, maybe not easily, but I think you will be able to afford one of those guarantees. So that is my answer to the question, should you be pulling on the Global Sugofest? It always depends on your box, guys. I cannot tell you an answer. The answer is different for every single individual person. It always depends on your box, but these are the units you want the most. This is how important God Usopp is. Not God Usopp, Usohachi is, but he is, yes, a god. He is a really, really good rare recruit. Ain is a really, really good rare recruit. Bobbin is a really, really good one, and even more valuable than many, many legends in the game. But yes, this is not really like a fixed tier list. I made this list in like 5 minutes, just thought of what are the best units, what are the units I use the most in the game, what are the units I see used the most in the game, and I just whacked everyone on there. And obviously I might be missing some units on here, but these are the main crux. The top 3 rows, if you got these units in the game, you're living rent-free. You're living rent-free on content. Content fears you. Content will fear you if you have everyone in the top 3, minus Osoba Mask and minus Luffy Zoro. Because if you have Luffy Law, if you have Stampede Bullet, you got top tier captains already. You can have an attack booster. It doesn't have to be Sangoro. He's a great sub, of course. One of the best subs in the game. But you know, there are plenty of replacements. You don't need 2.5 times attack boost. That's just overkill. With Luffy Zoro, you know, you don't need their captain ability. There are other good free spirit captains, right? So yes, they are not game-breaking legends. They are top tier legends, but they're not like Lucy back in the day, or Kainu V1 back in the day, or Timeskip Luffy, or Carrot when they all came out and they completely changed the meta and broke everything. They're not like that. And that's where the meta is at for global. That's where it's gonna be in like 6 months time. And this is my list of recommended units that you should be looking out for on Sugofest when you want to pull. And you want to look at these units' rates and prioritize them and weight them based on your own box. And yes, hopefully that was helpful, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And I know I normally don't do global videos, but yes, this is a question I've been receiving an ungodly amount. And I hope this was helpful. Please let me know your thoughts and opinions. If I missed out any rare recruits or I missed out any legends that you think should be on here as like top priority. I know I didn't put Timeskip Nami in here. Well, that's because I just assume most people have Timeskip Nami. But if you don't, Timeskip Nami is another one. But yes, so let me know your thoughts and opinions, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And the best of luck, guys. Good luck to you guys if you are going to be pulling on this Sugofest. It does look very tasty. The first multis for each part is going to be discount. Then you got 3, 6, 8, 10. Last post is a legend. If you get a red on the 5th multi, it's either going to be Luffy Zoro or Osoba Mask. And I think Kaido are the only legends you can pull from the 1-0 batch there. So yes, all very, very nice. I do not recommend doing 30 multis, even if you are a Giga Whale. If you are a Giga Whale, you know the chances are you already have a lot of these units. That's why I don't recommend doing 30. But if you are missing units, then again, if you're missing a lot of rare recruits, you're missing a lot of, you know, legends, then it's a no-brainer. This list, top priority legends you should be looking out for. And yes, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye.